أنا مرض أنا الداء ومني تأتي أوجاع.
The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as mentioned in the hadith of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, he said, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam from a handful of earth that he took from the entire globe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the earth from different parts of the world, and he used this to create Adam alayhi salam. Adam alayhi salam, like the rest of insan, are created from mud and water, from the earth, from clay. And if you look around the world, you will see that this earth, this mud, this clay, this sand, it varies in color. In some places it's black, in some places it's white, in some places it's red, in some places it's yellow. So he said, I heard the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took earth from the entire globe, from the entire earth, and he used this in order to make Adam alayhi salam. And he said, and as a result, the sons and the offspring of Adam alayhi salam, some of them will be red, some of them will be white, some of them will be black, and some of them will be something in between. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created insan and human beings, of varying complexions, of varying colors. The color of our skin will differ. The color of our eyes will differ. The color of our hair will differ. Our build will differ. Sometimes our eyes will differ. Our lips will differ. Our appearances are all different. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and made us like this, different. This isn't a human construct. This isn't something that we had choice over. None of us here had a choice as to which family would be born into. None of us have a choice as to who our parents would be. None of us had the choice of what the color of our skin is going to be, the color of our eyes, the color of our hair. This is all natural from the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah made it like this. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he continues. He said, I have made you into different nations and into different tribes, of all of these different varieties, of all of these different colors. Why? Not so that we can put barriers up between ourselves and discriminate against one another on the basis of the color of our skin. It wasn't so that we can distinguish or discriminate rather between each other on the basis of our nationality, on the basis of which part of the world that we come from. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you may know one another, you may understand one another, you may appreciate one another, you will respect one another. The fact that we are so different, and the fact that we have this variety of differences, is from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order for us to appreciate the greatness of Allah, Al-Khaliq Al-Malik, the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the greatness of His creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us like this. Why? So that we can appreciate and understand and know one another, not in order for us to make differences and disagreements between one another. This is something which is contrary to the teachings of Islam. If we look around the Muslim world today, we find that from the east to the west, Muslims, we find a variety of different Muslims, of different races, of different ethnicities, different backgrounds. As a Muslim Ummah, we are split into some 50 plus nations, each one with their own nationality, with their own flag, with their own leader, with their own government, with their own borders fixed. But these, my dear Muslim brothers, are human constructs. Nation states are a human construct, are a modern day construct. This never existed in the past. It never existed at the time of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam or at the time of the Sahaba. These are divisions and barriers that we have erected and we have made between ourselves. Have nothing to do with Islam. What does Islam say? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, verily the believers are a brotherhood. The Muslims, the believers are a brotherhood. Our brotherhood and our unity is on the basis of our deen, on the basis of our Islam, on the basis of our Iman, on the basis of our Tawheed, on the basis of La ilaha illallah. So make reconciliation between them. When the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he was sent with the message of Al-Islam, it came to completely eradicate all of these barriers that people had put between themselves at that time. In the time of Jahiliyyah, the time of ignorance before Al-Islam, people would discriminate against one another on the basis of the tribe that they were from, on the basis of which area they were from, on the basis of their nobility, on the basis of their tribe, their caste, their race, even on the basis of their wealth and their nobility. To the extent where some people were born into slavery, they were slaves, they could never get out of this slavery. People who were born into royalty and nobility, they were nobles, and nobody could take that away from them. And they would discriminate against one another on this basis. When the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam he came, he completely removed all of these barriers, all of these divisions that we had made and constructed ourselves, that we have put in between ourselves as a wedge to discriminate and differentiate and differ between one another. The unity of the Muslims was based upon Islam. The unity and the brotherhood of the believers was based upon La ilaha illallah, and this surpassed everything else. This bond of brotherhood based upon Islam, upon Tawheed, transcends all of the differences that we have in terms of race, ethnicity, background and so on. This is something of such importance that when the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he made hijrah to Medina, one of the first things that he did after establishing the masjid, the base for the believers, for the Muslims, is that he built the bond and the ties of brotherhood between the Muslims, between the people of Mecca and between the people of Medina. The people of Mecca called the Muhajirin. The Muhajirin are those because they emigrated, they left their land. The difference between Mecca and Medina is about 200 miles. When they left and made hijrah to Medina, they left pretty much everything behind. Their families, in some cases, their wealth, their properties, their businesses, everything they left for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they made hijrah to Medina, to a new land, to a foreign land, a climate that they were not accustomed to. They were not used to. The people there, they were foreigners to. They had no standing, they had no relations, some of them, most of them. They didn't know anything. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in order to establish the ties of brotherhood and to build unity between them, what did he do? It's narrated that he gathered over 90 people in the house of Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala. Half of them from the Muhajirin, half of them from Ansar. Half of them the people of Mecca and half of them the people of Medina. The people of Medina, my dear Muslim brothers, remember, they gave the nusrah to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to the believers. They gave them the support to say that we will support you, we will believe in you, and we will defend. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he called these people, 90 of them, half and half from Medina, half from Mecca. And he took each one individually, took their hands, and he united them into a bond of brotherhood. Abu Bakr was made the brother of Kharija ibn Zayd. Umar with Utbah ibn Abi Malik, with Talha with Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah with Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, Abdurrahman ibn Auf with Sa'd ibn Rabi'ah, so on and so forth. He tied and united their hands, saying, you are going to be brothers, like blood brothers. You will help one another, you will support one another, even to the extent if one of you dies, you will inherit from the other. And this was the rule until it was abrogated later after Badr. Unifying the believers, strengthening their ties, to show and to say to them and to explain to them, and for ultimately for us, for the generations of Muslims that will come after them, is that regardless of your differences, regardless of where you are from, regardless of your tribe, regardless of the color of your skin, regardless of whatever caste or ethnicity that you have, You are all equal as far as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is concerned. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The verse continues. They said, and the only difference between us in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is more honorable is the one who has more taqwa, the one who is more conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is more fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is more obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In simple terms, the one who is more practicing. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge us. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will distinguish and differentiate between us. All of these other differences are irrelevant. The only thing that matters is the level of your iman, the level of your Islam, the level of your amal upon this belief of Islam. How much of this we put into practice. How conscious and how fearful are we of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he held this unity and this brotherhood of the Muslims of such importance that it was one of the first things that he established when the Muhajirin made the hijrah to Medina, strengthening their ties. And it was Sa'd ibn Abi Rabi'ah who was paired up with Abdurrahman ibn Auf. He said to Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said to him, I am the most wealthiest person of Medina. In my possession I have 2 orchards and 2 wives. He said, look to any one of those 2 orchards, whichever one you like, take it, it's yours. And look to my wives, whichever one of them is pleasing to you, I will divorce her for you. This was the level of brotherhood that they had between themselves. Ready to give and sacrifice everything for their Muslim brothers for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave them an opportunity. Help your Muslim brothers, those who are in need. And look at how they responded. He didn't say to him, these are my 2 orchards. You know what an orchard is? An orchard is a huge garden of fruits, of grapes, which you can use to eat and feed yourselves, but also to sell and provide to others, to supply others. It's a huge source of income, of wealth. He didn't say, take this one. He said, no, whichever one is pleasing to you, take. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said, no, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family and your wealth. But he said, just show me where the marketplace is and I will be able to fend for myself. He went with absolutely nothing, my dear Muslim brothers, and this is a side note. He went with absolutely nothing, with only tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reliance and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He is our provider. He went there, he began to trade to the point where he became the richest in the Sahaba. He said there wasn't a stone that I would uncover and I would find money underneath. Abdurrahman ibn Auf. The Ansar, they said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, take all of our orchards, take all of our palm trees, take all of our date trees, split them in half and divide them with the Muhajirin, with the people of Makkah. But the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he refused. He said no, he said allow them to work in those lands, in those farms and in those gardens, and in return give them a share of the wealth. So the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he defined the brotherhood between the Muhajirin and the Ansar on Islamic terms, on the basis of Iman, on the basis of Islam, whereby the strong would help the weak, the rich would help the poor, those who are well off and fortunate will help those who are less fortunate, even to the extent where those who had more knowledge would help and assist those who were seeking knowledge or who lacked knowledge. In every respect, there was unity and there was brotherhood, assistance and help, because this is what it means. This is what it means when we testify La ilaha illallah, and this is what it means to be part of a Muslim ummah, to be part of this global brotherhood. And whenever there was any threat to this brotherhood and to this unity of the Muslims, whenever there was any harm or any threat that would come to disrupt the balance that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he established, whenever there was any threat of Muslims being disunited or being fragmented, Allah and His Rasul would come and intervene in order to make sure that there is no room for any relief, make sure there is no room for any disunity, any disagreements, any divisions between the Muslims. When some people, they were speaking wrongly and bad and disparagingly towards Salman al-Farisi. Salman al-Farisi was from Bilad al-Faris, from the Persian Empire. So some people, they said, look, we are Arabs. We are Arabs and we are better than this man, he's from Persia. So they said it, tried to put him down, believing that they were more superior than Salman al-Farisi because he was from Persia. They were all Muslims. This was his only crime according to them, that he was Persian and they were Arabs, therefore they looked down upon him. It was Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu who came in his defense and he said, leave him alone. He is from us and he is from Ahlul Bayt. He is from us and he is from Ahlul Bayt. Literally, he is not from Ahlul Bayt. He's not from the family of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that sense. But he came to his defense in order to completely dispel and to remove any doubt or any threat to any division or any disunity between the Muslims. When Abu Dharr al-Ghifari radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he had a small disagreement with Bilal ibn Rabah, they were speaking and Bilal radiallahu anhu, he corrected him on something. Abu Dharr, he became annoyed at this. So he said to Abu Dharr, mistakenly, he said to him, you son of a black woman. And he said this in a derogatory form to try to put him down, to try to make him feel as though he was inferior because he was from Habasha, from Ethiopia. He said, you son of a black woman. Bilal ibn Rabah, he became upset. So he took the matter to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he heard about this, he became very upset. To the extent where he rebuked Abu Dharr. He said, oh Abu Dharr, this is too much. You have gone too far. There is no difference between somebody whose mother is white and between somebody whose mother is black. There is no difference between those people at all. There is nothing to say that one is better than the other. No white person is better than any black person. No black person is better than any white person. No Arab is better than any non-Arab, and no non-Arab is better than any non-Arab. The only thing that is different between us, my dear Muslim brothers, is the level of our iman and the level of our taqwa, how committed we are to this deen of Islam. This is what will distinguish between us. Abu Dharr, he immediately took back what he said. He immediately understood the mistake that he made. He put his head on the ground and he said, I'm not going to remove it until Bilal, he steps on my head as a recompense for the offense that I committed against him by saying these words. This was the level of iman and the level of brotherhood and unity that those people, those Sahaba, they possessed. Once in Medina, there was a man by the name of Qais ibn Mutayti'ah. He was from the Munafiqeen. He came and he saw the gathering of the Muslims, of the believers. He saw the people of Aus and Khazraj, the people of Ansar, the people of Medina, sitting with the people of Makkah. And amongst them he saw Suhaib al-Rumi, who was a slave from the Romans. He saw Salman al-Farisi, who was from the Persians. And he saw Bilal al-Habashi, who was from Ethiopia, a black slave. And already as a munafiq, he had a grudge against al-Islam. He had a grudge against the believers. When he saw all of these Muslims united in this way, together bound by the bond of al-Islam into one brotherhood, you see, it hurt him. He didn't like it. So he made a comment and he said these few words. He said, the Aus and the Khazraj have given support to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, that much we can understand, because the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was from a very noble family, the best of the best. He was from Al-Quraysh, from Banu Hashim. He said, I can understand that we're given support to the likes of him. But how is it that we are supporting these people here, these slaves, these people who have no value in their eyes, these people who are not even Arabs, they're not even native people to us, they've come from outside, they are of a low caste. What have they done to deserve this honor and to deserve our support? You see, trying to create fitna between the believers, trying to create disunity and disunite and fragment this brotherhood between the Muslims. Mu'adh ibn Jabal, he was present in that gathering. He grabbed him by his neck and he dragged him to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, knowing that this person, this munafiq, was trying to stir trouble, trying to create disunity between the Muslims. He dragged him and he took him to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became very angry at what he heard and what he said, to the extent where he went straight to the masjid. He ordered somebody to make the adhan, to call and to gather the people. See, the adhan didn't used to be made just for salat. It used to be made as a call to show people, to call them to the masjid in order to give them some important news or affairs. So the people, they came, and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave a khutbah, he gave a bayan, in which he basically said that all of you are united by your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your Lord is one. All of you are from Adam alayhi salam. We are descended from one person, Adam alayhi salam. He said, we are bonded on the basis of our belief, and therefore we are all united. There is no other difference between us except for the level of our iman and the level of our taqwa. You see, whenever there was any threat, whenever there was anybody trying to cause fitna and to disunite and make brothers fight between brothers, Muslims fight between Muslims, Allah and His Rasul would intervene in order to stop that from happening and to solidify the bond of brotherhood and the bond of Islam between the Muslims. Safiya radiallahu ta'ala anha, al-Mu'mineen, the wife of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Once the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he saw her, she was crying. Safiya was the daughter of Huyay ibn Akhtab. Huyay ibn Akhtab was one of the chief leaders of the tribes of the Jews, Banu Nadir. And for those who don't know, Banu Nadir were expelled from Medina because they tried to kill and assassinate the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gathered the army and they were expelled. Safiya radiallahu ta'ala anha, she remained behind. She embraced Islam and she became the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But as was the case sometimes between the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, between the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, sometimes there would be jealousy between them, so they would argue and bicker between themselves. They had a dispute between Safiya and Hafsa. He asked her, why are you crying? She said, Hafsa said something to me and made me cry. She said, she called me the daughter of a Jew. And she said this in a way as a disparaging remark, a derogatory remark, in order to try to put her down, saying that, look, you're a daughter of a Jew. We are Arabs, we are better. They would compete in terms of who was better. And this was done sincerely for their love for the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But at this time she made a mistake. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to her, tell her that I am the daughter of a Nabi. My uncle is a Nabi and I am married to a Nabi. You see, Safiya radiallahu ta'ala anha, her lineage could be traced back all the way to Harun alayhi salam. So the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he found out that even between the Muslim women, between his wives, there was a potential for there to be disunity, there was a potential for there to be discrimination on the basis of ethnic and racial grounds, he intervened and he said, tell them that I am the daughter of a Nabi, Harun alayhi salam. My uncle is a Nabi, Musa alayhi salam, and my husband is a Nabi, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So what are you boasting about? What do you have to boast and be proud about? Look at my lineage, look at who I am, look at where I am from. And he said, ittaqillah ya Hafsa. He said, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for speaking these words, because these words could cause fitna and can cause divisions between the believers. Whenever there was any threat like this, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the examples are so many, and the evidences are huge. But whenever the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he would describe the believers, he would describe us in a particular way, to make sure that we don't distinguish between ourselves and we don't differentiate and discriminate between ourselves on the basis of our race, on the basis of the color of our skin, on the basis of what tribe or ethnicity that we have come from. Brotherhood in Islam, my dear Muslim brothers, is something of utmost and paramount importance. Anything that will lead to causing disunity between the believers must be eradicated from us, from our communities, from wherever it takes shape. Brotherhood in Islam is the very foundation of Islam. It is of utmost importance for us to understand that our relationship between us as Muslims is on the basis of our deen, is on the basis of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Iman and Tawheed is what gels us and what unites us and brings us together. And this is a unique and a very specific relationship that we have. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Al-mu'minu lil-mu'mini kal-bunyanu yashuddu ba'duhu bi-ba'd." And he interlaced his fingers like this. He said, the believers, the Muslims, he said they are united. The relationship between one believer and another believer is like the bricks of a building, interlaced, entwined with each other like this. Solid like a rock. Because if we are solid like this, then there is nothing that can come in our way. If we are united and if we are true to our kalima la ilaha illallah, if we are true to Islam and if we are true to Allah and to His Rasul, then we will understand that we Muslims should be united and strong like this, like the Prophet ﷺ has taught us. And in all of these examples that I have mentioned. Anything that comes to try to disrupt this balance should be completely removed and eradicated. Unfortunately, we look around the world as a Muslim ummah, a global Muslim ummah of over 1 million people. 1 billion people. Over 1 billion Muslims around the world, from the east to the west, every color under the sun. Muslims. And yet we find that yet there's so much division and discrimination between us. There's so much division between us, where even we're split into these different nationalities. And even within these nationalities, on the basis of racial grounds, on the basis of our ethnicity, fighting, conflicting with one another, erecting these barriers between one another, between our Muslim brothers and sisters. Why? We read the same kalima, we believe in the same Allah, we have the same iman, the same tawheed, the same belief. We declare this kalima equally, and this is what unites us, this is what brings us together. If we maintain this, then we will be strong and we will be united and we will be successful in this dunya and we will be successful in the akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. That the disbelievers, they are allies to one another, they are supporters, helpers, friends to one another, they're united as one block, and we can see that. And He says, إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. That if we don't also become united, if we too don't become awliya between ourselves, if we don't become allies and supporters and friends and helpers between each other as Muslims, then there will be fitna and fasad and corruption upon the earth. There will be mischief and corruption, and we can see that we are facing humiliation upon humiliation as a Muslim ummah as a result of this. From the east to the west, humiliation. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the Muslim ummah كَمَثَلِ الْجَسَدُ الْوَاحِدِ. It's like one body, like one person. If any one part of this body hurts or feels pain, any one part of this body feels pain, the rest of the body should also feel this pain. تَدَاعَ لَهُ سَائِرُ الْجَسَدِ بِالسَّهْرِ وَالْحُمَّةِ. Should shake in fever because of this pain that we are feeling. Do we not suffer pain as Muslims if we look around the world? In all different respects. Look at those Muslims who are suffering in Pakistan through those floods. Look at those Muslims who are suffering in Somalia through drought and famine, in Afghanistan, drought and famines. Look at those Muslims suffering in Kashmir and Palestine because of occupation of Muslim land. Killing, bloodshed, Yemen, Syria, everywhere we look, problems. How does it affect us, my dear Muslim brothers? Are we truly part of this Muslim brotherhood? Are we truly united in this way that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said? Because if we are, then we too should feel it. We should do something about it. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the tawfiq and the honor to act upon what we have said.